I'm Nixie, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I get fixated on a specific doll. So please meet Honey. She is a lifestyle influencer, and because of that, I decided I need to make her a study so she has like a nice desk, computer where she can edit all of her online content. And that's what we're making today, a study for Honey. Now, I don't know if you ever heard the author George R.R. Martin say about writers, they're either architects or gardeners. The architects will sort of do all the meticulous planning before starting, whereas gardeners plant some seeds and see what grows. Now, I'm definitely in the gardener category of people, and that is how this room is developing, because I had the idea for this room a while ago, but I needed those seeds to grow before we could film it here. So first up, we need a floor. So I was in the range and I saw they'd got this in stock, which I hadn't seen previously. It's 12 by 12 inch, it says paper, it's very thick paper, but it's wood textures, and that means we have potential flooring. I picked this one because I felt like I wanted a light colour floor for her. I then cut out some foam board, the same size, so we can stick them together so we've got a slightly more solid floor base. So we're gonna shove a load of glue and then we can stick it. So there we go. So floor done, we need some walls. So then more foam board, cut it out to the size of this, because this is the size of the room. Got 12 by 12 inches, that's what we're working with. And I'm just doing 2 walls, because if I ever wanted to extend it at a later date, we're going to keep this side here free. So now we need to cover the walls. And Honey here, I kind of felt the colour purple is her favourite colour, so we need purple walls. I wanted a light purple because it is walls. And this is the colour purple they had in Hobbycraft, so this is her wall colour. So I folded the paper to make it easier, and I'm just going to stick it down. And again, I'm just using the classic sort of Pritt Stick style glue. So all covered, and I did make the decision I wanted this to be a permanent room, so it's not going to fold up at all. We're going to glue the base to the edge of the walls, but I also want some skirting board because I just think it looks nicer. So I bought these long sticks from Temu, which I'm just going to cut down to length and paint white, like so. And then we can just put them on and glue them in place. So I'm going to use Yoo-Hoo glue for both sticking the base and the skirting board on. You probably could use hot glue, just hot glue and me don't always quite get on. I don't know. I think I'm just a little bit better with Yoo-Hoo. So now everything's glued, we have our basic room. And as this is a study, I need a computer desk. So I got some wood from Hobbycraft and I've cut out a desk. I want it quite wide just because, you know, apart from having a computer on it, she wants to store some other bits. Now, this is the chair I'm going to be using as a desk chair. It's one I already own. So height-wise, I kind of need to work out based on, let's get her to sit on it. So we need it sort of maybe this height, so it's above the chair, but so she can be like clicking a mouse. So I've gone for this sort of height and cut out 2 more bits of wood, one for either side. And then just going to glue these together, keep it nice and simple, although I think I might put a support at the back. I have some of these sort of square sticks, and I think if I just put that at the back, it'll just give it that tiny little bit of extra support. For these you could use super glue again, but I'm going to try a wood glue. It's meant to be, you know, strong. Takes a little while to dry, but we're going to give it a shot. Now my wood glue I have to kind of take the top off because this bit, it's kind of got a bit gluey inside. I don't know how you'd really stop that unless you, I guess, washed it out each time you used it. But it's not an issue. We can use it on a paintbrush and then just paint it on. No trouble at all. So then we just have to put it and hold it forever. So you'd be better off kind of trying to set something up that you can leave it in the correct shape is what I'm going to be doing as well. So while we're waiting for that to dry, here is something else I've been working on. So the other main bit of furniture for this room, I thought we needed a shelving unit. So again, this was wood from Hobbycraft, and I cut out the sides and the top, glued them together. But I did cut out wooden shelves, the same material. I was just struggling to get them even vaguely identical. So we come up with different solutions. What I did was I cut out bits of foam board instead, and then cover them with more of this wood that we use for the baseboard. It's going to be painted anyway, so it's not going to notice particularly that the shelves themselves aren't wood, as long as the front looks good. They're still not 100% perfect, but more even than when I was trying with the wood shelves. I'll just show you what I did for the base here. So we've got standard wooden shelf, but underneath we've got 2 foam board strips for support. And the one in front's covered with another bit of wood, just because normally shelving units, they don't go right down to the bottom. You have sort of just a little bit for the, I guess, legs part. But now it needs painting. And we're going to do that with a layer of white paint. I think I want this room to be quite sort of clean. So that's been painted and is now drying. So let's have another look at this desk. Like I said, I've got that little support at the back. And yeah, I get it's a very plain, simple desk, just 3 sides. But that's all I want for now. But this too, we are going to paint white. But I'm going to water down the white because I quite like the grain of this wood. So I'd like to still see some of this through it if possible. Right, let's hope this is watered down enough for us to start painting. I'm not sure it is, but we will try and do as thin a coat as possible. Our shelving is now painted, as is our desk. I think it's actually turned out quite well, and we now have a lot of space. Part of me wondered maybe about covering the back of it with something, but I kind of like it being open, to be honest. And with the desk, you can still kind of see the grain through it, so that's not too bad. Like I said, it's a simple desk, but when I cut these down size, I didn't realise that something I'd bought to go in this room was going to fit perfectly underneath and give sort of the desk enough detail without adding anything extra. This little set of drawers I got from AliExpress, and I'll look at them properly in a different video. Look how cute they look under the desk. It just gives a little bit of extra detail, and it means that I've got a really simple desk that I can always reuse, change in different ways. But for now, they're so cute. Next, however, for this room, I think we need a window. Now, you might think, why didn't we do the window, before we constructed the room? It would have made more sense. No, because I needed to know sort of where the desk was fitting, where this was fitting, so I could work out where I wanted the window. There is a logic to my actions, even if it doesn't always make sense, it does in my head. Now, I do only want a small window, but I just think it'd be nice so she can be on her computer, but also look out the window. So I feel it is only fair to show you my creative process. I've turned the room on its side, I've got the furniture in, and I've got my doll, so I can kind of see what height I want the window to be. Might not be how everybody does it, but it's how I'm doing it. I guess I'm more of sort of eyeball rather than exact measurements. But once marked out, now comes the scary part, because I've got to cut it with my craft knife. So best try to just take it nice and slow. And I'm using a metal knife and metal ruler specifically, because plastic ones I feel sometimes get cut when I'm using a craft knife. And once cut, hopefully it's going to pop out okay. And it's removed, we have our window. So obviously we can't just leave this as a hole, we need to dress the window, I guess. And I have these 3 kinds of wooden dowels, sticks. So first one, which is a coffee stirrer, we are going to be using on the inside here just to cover it so it's not the raw foam edge. This second one, which is the same as the skirting board, we'll be using to go round the window. And this third piece, which is the square, and it's what we used on the back of the desk, we're going to be using it just to separate the window, just make it look a bit more realistic. So I need to cut these and paint them white, because I haven't painted enough white today. And just to show you, for cutting thin things like this, you can use mitre shears, and you can do a nice sort of angle. So if you kind of line it up, really nice and easy. That way we can have cute sort of angles for our window, just to make it look a bit nicer. And here is our finished window. I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously, with all these things I'm making, I'm using wood, and that's my choice. You could easily use foam board, cardboard, whatever you're happy with. Except I just wanted to use wood, I just think it looks quite effective. We are going to need some form of curtain though for this window, and I'm going to use this material that I got from Temu. And you might be wondering why bees? Well, my doll's called Honey, and when that just clicked, it all worked. Plus, yellow and purple, they're complementary colours, so it should pop. So this is the little curtain I have made. So I painted another one of those bamboo sticks black as the curtain pole, and on each end I just cut tiny pieces of that square bamboo stick, And for the curtain itself, it is all hemming tape. I see no reason for superfluous sewing. Like I said, when we can just put some tape down, iron it, and it sticks. And I've done that at the top part as well. Like I said, it's just quicker and easier. So I'm going to glue this, but as the curtain is going to mainly be open, I've sort of scrunched it over to one side, put a little black bow so that it can be like that. To glue it, I'm going to use this stuff, which is even super glue than the Yoo-Hoo. It works quick, it's very strong, so this is what we're going for. Actually, just before we glue it on, let's glue some plastic at the back. If you collect dolls, plastic is not normally too hard to come by, as their packaging tends to be made out of it. So we have a little bit of sheet here, which we can attach to here. And you know what? I think I'm just going to put some sellotape to attach it. Obviously we can glue it, but for now I think sellotape will suffice. So now it's taped up. So we've got ourselves a more realistic window. And now we'll glue on the curtain. And now we've got the curtain in the room, and at this point I get that you might think it should have been on that side, but we're going to have stuff on the desk, so I think for her to be looking out it makes more sense that the curtain's this side. So we've got our furniture and a window sorted. What else do we need? We need a rug. And I was browsing Google for bee-themed rugs, and I saw this one, and it inspired me. So for the rug I've cut out hexagons in 4 different colours of felt. Now to get a template for a hexagon, what I did was I got one up on my laptop, I put some paper over the screen so I could still see the shape through it, put dots in the 6 corners, and then with a ruler I could draw a pattern basically for a hexagon. So I cut 3 of each colour felt, and I put them on this black felt that we're going to use as the base. And I'm now going to use some fabric glue to glue them all down. So just give it a covering, and then stick it down. Then repeat. So all glued on, now I just need to cut around the outside. Now I am going to leave a little border just because I think that will look nice. Okay, I'm pleased with that. I like how it's turned out. I think that's quite a cool, unique rug for our study. And here is the finished rug in the room, and I think that looks really good. I am pleased with that. I just think it gives it a real pop of colour. I mean, from the inspiration picture, obviously this is nothing quite like it, but it's cool, and like I said, I'm the kind of person that'll get an idea, we'll try it, we'll see if it works or it doesn't work. And I think it did work. Next up though, I think we need to do something about this blank wall. We need art. And the first bit is this. And this goes to show you just random coincidences. So my niece happened to show me this sketch my sister had done of a bee. They had no idea I was doing a bee-themed room. So I asked if I could have a copy. So I printed it off. The paper I wrapped around a bit of foam board. I just put a bit of card on the back so it was flat. I painted yet more of those bamboo sticks, but this time in black. Glued them round, and we have our art. And I think we'll put it there. And I'm just going to use some blue tack, then we can always move it about if we want to. So there we go. The second thing I want to do, actually a bit more practical, and I was again inspired when searching on Google. I saw that people had honeycomb shaped notice boards. So obviously perfect, we can have that there. It's a study, it's a notice board, it's honeycomb shape, it just all fits. So I got a pack of these from Temu, they're cork, they've got sort of self-adhesive backs. So we'll just be able to stick them up there. It's going to be permanent, so we've got to do careful placement. But first we've got a hexagon pattern, and it's just a case of cutting them out. So we're going to have enough to make a nice pattern. Obviously cut several so we can start working how we want our design. So I did lay this down on its side just so it was easier to do, but they just peel off like that. And then we stick them down. And that's our honeycomb corkboard. So now the corkboard's up, we of course need some pins to go it, because it is a pin board. And I got a pack of these really cute little bumblebees from Temu. I think they'll work well as novelty pins. And then we can obviously cut a bit of paper, put a pin on it. I'm just using blue tack to attach everything so that we can move stuff about. I think when I get access to a colour printer I'm going to do some photos of honey to put up there. But for now we're sticking with these little notes. And then we can just stick them on. Like I said, the blue tack seems to be holding up fine, and we'll just add to it when we get more stuff to add a bit more sort of clutter for her there. But I think I'm now happy with this wall. So we've got our pin board and our awesome bee picture. Now we need to focus on this area, and I thought that Honey deserved one of those cute little dogs that we got from Temu and looked at in a previous video. I think the basket will look quite nicely there, and that is purple, so it could work. However, I did decide to make my own with some more bumblebee themed fabric that, again, from Temu. I did a lot of craft shopping on Temu for this, but I just thought that material was adorable. I had to have it, and I thought it would look cute. So we can just pop it in there. And now we have a bit more of a sort of thematic dog bed. And while I had the sewing machine out, I thought I'd make a little cushion, because if I'm sewing, I'm gonna at least make it worth it. So we can pop that on her chair. Then the final thing before I add some clutter, I just want to show one thing that I modified. So this plant I actually hadn't originally bought for her, I'd got it previously, but I thought she needed a bit of greenery in here, and this pot, it was grey, so I just painted it black. But I thought I'd just show you that one because it's a modification, and then everything else we're going to clutter in here, I'm going to show you in a next video, because I did buy quite a few things from her, and not all of them are going in this room, so I just wanted to show you those, you know, sort of AliExpress Temu buys separately. So let's just place the plant here, and let's get things cluttered. Honestly, I really like this. I think it's turned out well. The stuff on the shelves is more just random stuff. I do eventually want to get things that are maybe a bit more personal to Honey. But the point is she now has her space and we can build on it. And making this room kind of has inspired me to make more rooms for her. As I said, I kind of go through fixations on certain dolls. But anyway, thank you so much for watching as I showed you my maybe chaotic process of making this study corner room for my doll Honey. If you did like this video, please do hit that thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos, do subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!